Let's move on to
Big
facts.
facts. Can we do big facts?
Sure.
3, 2, 1.
Let's move on to big facts. All right, here we go. We have 10 facts for you today. Number 10, out-of-towners. When Neil tells a hotel desk clerk he has been wearing the same underwear since Tuesday, Dell says, "I can vouch for that." That remark is made in the out-of-towners several times by Glenn to confirm George's version of events, and Steve Martin actually went on to star in the remake of that film.
And kids, don't wear your drawers. Like, at least turn them inside out.
Number 9, predictions. In the famous Those Aren't Pillows scene, Neil asked Dell if he saw the Bears game last week. Hell of a game. Bears got a great team this year, go all the way. Thanksgiving fell on November 26th in that year, as it does this year when this episode will be airing now as you're watching it. Meaning that the previous Bears game fell on November 22nd. In that game, the Bears had an impressive 30-10 win over their rival Detroit. Also, in the vein of predictions, in St. Louis, Dell mentions that he called a good friend at Eastern Airlines, and it doesn't look good. Ironically, Eastern Airlines actually filed for bankruptcy 2 years later and ceased operations 1 year after that.
And ironically, that'll be the last time you hear Dirt and Godfrey ever give you a sports reference on this show.
It felt very unnatural. Number 8, real sketchy. The owner of the Braidwood Inn featured in the film was arrested in March of 2019 on charges of promoting prostitution on the premises. The motel had also been the site of 2 drug overdose related deaths.
So let me get this straight. He didn't get in trouble for promoting prostitution. He got in trouble for promoting prostitution on the premises.
Yeah.
Gotcha, cool.
Do it over there.
All right.
Number 7, the house John built. An unspecified actor who portrayed a truck driver, we are assuming this actor is Troy Evans, who is uncredited as the shy truck driver who makes him ride in the back, was only supposed to have one line and worked for 1 day. But because of weather-related delays, Hughes kept him on standby while the crew waited for snow to come. The actor ended up working enough days to earn enough money to put a down payment on a house.
Let that be a lesson to all your aspiring actors and actresses out there. Sometimes being an extra means you get extra money. Keep up, kids.
Yeah. Number 6, planes, trains, and bobsleds. As you mentioned in the talking points, John Candy uses the same line in both Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and Cool Runnings. It's not pretty to look at, but it'll get you where you want to go. John Candy also does a Jamaican impression in both films. Number 5, Tom and John. John Hughes originally wanted Tom Hanks to play Neil and John Travolta to play Dell. Hanks was unfortunately unavailable due to shooting big, and Paramount execs didn't want Travolta because he was considered box office poison at the time. He started at the bottom, now he's back at the bottom, because he's apparently box office poison now. Has anybody seen Gotti?
No.
And yeah, it got Razzies.
I mean, I just keep watching. Look who's talking again, so I don't have to see him. Just listen. You know, I've actually worked with John.
Wait, you do have to see John and look who's talking. It's Bruce Willis you don't have to see.
Yeah, but that's what I'm telling you. It's messing me up because I've worked with John.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you gonna speak about it?
No.
I mean, it came up organically.
I know. What do you want to speak about? What are you trying to hint at me at?
Well, it's too late now.
Okay.
I work with John.
We get into that in the interview with Lila too.
Thanks, John.
It's how we met. Is that what?
Oh, well, I thought you would get there. Yeah. So because of John Travolta, he rose to enough fame to somehow bring our lives together for you to get on the show and shit on him. Thanks, Dave.
Hey, I'm not shitting on him. He's shitting on him.
Okay.
Speaking of John's, John Goodman was also eyed to play Del Griffin. So John Hughes really wanted a John for that role. Apparently, he landed on John Candy finally.
He's still acting. He still has his acting chops, by the way.
Oh yeah, he
Goodman
gets better with age, like a fine wine.
Wine, yes.
Number 4, Snow Problem. Snow Problem. It was quite an undertaking creating the snow-covered scenery you see in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. The night scenes on the highway were filmed in Central California, and fake snow had to be applied to the sides of the road so it looked like Midwest winter. The scene in Lambert Airport in St. Louis were shot during the winter, but it was uncharacteristically warm, so snow had to be trucked in for that as well. All along, the cast and crew actually traveled from the Midwest to the East Coast and back in search of snow for many scenes, but it always seemed to melt whenever they arrived. Talk about fiction meeting reality. They were on their own road trip during production.
I can speak to that because the one thing I don't think you have in there that this was a $30 million budget in '87, which is a lot of money, but it grossed $50 million worldwide, meaning that this cult classic only made $20 million. And I guess John Hughes had something to do with that.
Number 3, Double Bacon. In the beginning of the movie, Steve Martin's character Neil races Kevin Bacon for a taxi. Later, when Neil is on the phone with his wife, a scene from She's Having a Baby, also directed by John Hughes and starring Kevin Bacon, can be heard in the background. Later in the motel scene, She's Having a Baby can be seen on the TV, even though it wouldn't be released until a year later. Another fun fact, Kevin Bacon stars in She's Having a Baby, and John Candy makes a cameo in that. John Candy, of course, stars in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and Kevin Bacon makes a cameo on it.
I'll be doing number 2 for a specific reason. Number 2, Trains. The fictional name of the railway in the movie is Contract, a combination of Conrail and Amtrak. The train used to set dormant in Western New York since the film's production, still bearing the Contract logos. And as I don't know if you mentioned this, but of course I didn't know if you knew. My dad, of course, worked for Amtrak and whatnot, so for years retired with Amtrak. So it was definitely good to see that good callback. No, I know I'm number 1. Keep telling everybody. Put it up higher.
Mr. Humble.
Is Coke sponsoring us now? I have nothing up here with the name on it. Is it quenching your thirst?
Yeah. Oh, it's good. Coca-Cola. The real thing. The real thing.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
No travel companies wanted to be associated with the movie being portrayed as inept or deficient in any way, so crews had to rent 25 miles of train track, refurbish old railroad cars, construct an airline terminal set, design and create uniforms and logos for a fake rent-a-car company, and rent 250 cars for the famous marathon car rental sequence.
Guys, this is where having an excellent producer comes in at, because they'll save you so much money.
Yeah, we were talking about this before. It's pretty damn simple, like, to avoid having to rent 250 cars?
And you know it wasn't just for one day.
Yeah. Like, what did the cast and crew drive there in? I'm pretty sure they drove there in cars. So just like, instead of parking them in the production lot, park them in the lot we're going to film in today. That had to take care of at least 50, maybe 75 cars. Maybe have some fans that are of John Hughes, of the Breakfast Club or whatever, come in like, hey, you want to watch John Hughes production? Park your car in this parking lot, stand to the side, watch Steve Martin flip out. Save yourself all that money.
I'm going to put you in some big budget meetings.
Number 1, A. In the marathon car rental scene, from the time Neil begins his rant until the time that the attendant says you're f***ed, is a 60-second moment containing 18 f***s. The film would have easily passed as a PG-13 or even PG film if not for that single scene, arguably the best moment in the movie. It is actually rated PG in New Zealand, even with the car rental scene. This scene is one of 2 scenes that made Steve Martin want to take the role, the other being that seat adjustment scene.
One thing I learned from that, fun fact, is I want to go to New Zealand. You know why? Because they don't give a f***.
Yeah, they do give a f***.
But they don't. They don't give a f*** about f***.
Find us in all these links that's coming up right now.
Why don't you subscribe? It'll last longer.